Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Skåne here in the south of Sweden, and we're having a try of another brewery that I've never had anything from. So for this one we are going to go for the first time to Råå Bryggeri, and we're having a taste of their Eye for an Eye IPA, which comes in at 6.6% ABV if I'm remembering correctly, and as the name suggests it's an IPA, so very curious to see how this one turns out. I've seen this brewery around a little bit, I've seen them at a couple of beer festivals and things like that, but I've never actually managed to try one of their beers before, so very curious to see how this beer turns out, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Råå Bryggeri. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Råå Bryggeri then. So as I mentioned to you earlier, Råå Bryggeri are from the little town, or the municipality I guess you could say, of Råå, to the south of Helsingborg. I'm not sure if it's actually a separate town or if it is just like a kind of district of Helsingborg. It was a, they're very, very close together on the map. But this company was founded back in 2015 by Nikolai Gillström, and he had worked importing wine for a while. He worked as a wine importer for a number of years, and he also worked in business development in the grocery trade as well. But he later started home brewing and then attended brewing school in Copenhagen before he had internships in Höganäs and Helsingborg's brewery. So he has trained a lot in this local area up in Helsingborg, which is of course very, very well known for its craft beer, particularly Brewski Brewery, and I do recommend you check out Brewskival if you get the chance. But after completing his training, all the while working full time, he resigned from his job and he put together a business plan with 4 other entrepreneurs to start the brewery, and he started off quite big actually with a 2,000 litre brewing kit, but over the years they've continued to expand and they now have a capacity to brew around 750,000 litres of beer per year. They do have another head brewer now, and they offer beer tastings and brewery tours at the brewery as well, which you can book through the website and things. They've had a very successful year last year. Apparently they had 2 kind of full country releases if you like, along with some very, very big beers, and yeah, they seem to be going from strength to strength, so yeah, quite a cool time to review one of these beers for you. And as I say, I'm very, very curious to see how this one turns out. I always quite enjoy reviewing my kind of local Skånsk breweries for you here. So yeah, as I say, a really interesting little company this one. It is cool to see more and more breweries opening up down here in Skåne County, so yeah, if you get the chance to try some of their beers, have a look at them. If you want to learn a little bit more about the brewery, do check out the brewery website in the description below, and you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself then. If you go onto the brewery website as well, you can see a listing of all the different beers that they do. There's quite a few on there actually. They seem to be quite a prolific brewery. So yeah, quite kind of plain but tasteful artwork on this one. It's quite it's almost, it's this kind of Scandinavian minimalist sort of thing on this one. I do quite like this actually. It reminds me a little bit of the Breakfast Fin artwork to some degree, but you can see there is also Råå on the bottle cap of this one. I do hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly in this one. Of course it does take you a little bit of time to get used to these Swedish pronunciations, but this one is a certified organic beer, which you can see there, which is quite nice. But yeah, I think I bought this bottle at the start of December when I was in Helsingborg, so it is about a month old, this one. But yeah, no, it should be really nice. 6.6% IPA this one, and organic at that, so I think it will be very, very interesting. So without further ado then, I guess we should get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. Not too sure what to expect from this one. So yeah, as you can see, nice little bit of smoke on the opening, and we'll get it out and into the glass. There you go. So yeah, in terms of its appearance, nothing totally surprising about this style. It's poured a nice, bright, goldeny orange amber colour there. There's a solid finger and a half of a frothy, kind of cream coloured head on this one actually. Good little bit of hoppy fruity note coming out of this beer as well. I do wonder if there's a little bit of Cascade or something in this one. It does have, you know, it does have quite a distinct hoppy aroma, and I'm trying to remember exactly what hop that is. But yeah, it looks very, very nice, this one. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is quite hazy, but quite a nice, rich, orangey amber colour. There's a solid finger of that head there, but yeah, nothing overall surprising about this one in terms of its appearance. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on then. So yeah, with this beer, definitely a nice little bit of hoppy aroma coming out of it, which is what you would expect from an IPA, to be honest. So there's a really nice sort of juicy fruity quality to this one. You can get some nice sort of floral aromaticity as well. It's almost a little touch spicy, but there's a good little bit of a grassy quality in there as well. In terms of the hoppy notes, it's actually got a good little bit of, I want to say, it's got a little bit of an almost, it's got a very light touch of kind of a mango-y apricot sort of thing about it. There's definitely an edge of tropical fruit to this one, but at the same time, it's got a nice little bit of a kind of lemony citrus. You know, there could be a little bit of Centennial or something in there, which is quite interesting. I always like playing guess the hops with these beers where you don't know what's actually in them. But yeah, it's really interesting. This, it's got a nice big, it's leaning more towards the juicy fruity side of things, but it's got quite a sort of it's the grassy and citrusy side of things that's jumping out at this one for me. Underneath, you can definitely smell a nice bit of white sort of bready character. On top of that, a little bit of biscuit, a slightly sweeter caramel, and they're very lightly toasted as well, which is quite nice. But yeah, really interesting aroma, this one. Good balance from the malt base and the backbone, but really it's the grassy, citrusy notes that are jumping out at this one, aren't you? So yeah, just pay attention to that when you have a look at the beer. As I always say, it's definitely worth taking a look at the aromas of the beers when you open up, because that's the, you know, that's half the experience when it comes to craft beers and whiskies and things like this. So yeah, but it still smells really quite fresh actually. So yeah, let's get stuck into this one then. I don't really want to wait around too much for this beer because I'm quite curious about it. So this one is the I for an IPA, an organic IPA from Råå Bryggeri, just to the south of Helsingborg here in Skåne. An IPA coming in at 6% ABV. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. Oh yeah. That's pretty nice actually. You know, it's one of these ones that's got, it's a little bit, how do you kind of say this, the impact of this one, it comes across as very, very fresh actually. And again, from the aroma, it's the grassy kind of floral side of things that's really jumping out of this one at me. It's got this, that gives the beer a really kind of fresh vibe to it, and I like how this all goes together, to be honest with you. This is a nicely done IPA, make no mistake about that. Yeah, it's just interesting how everything goes together in this one. It's definitely one of these beers. It's not going to blow the head off you by any stretch of the imagination. It's all about how the flavours kind of fit together. But I will say that it's definitely a bit more punchy than some of the beers that you're getting from other breweries around Sweden just now. You know, there's quite a lot of breweries are doing these, you know, what I would call restaurant-y type beers that are meant to be, you know, it's the ones that are quite sort of, it's more about the kind of flavour blend, if you like, but they're just a little bit lighter and less punchy. Whereas this one's kind of a little, this one is starting to get into the punchy side. It's kind of getting into that little bit of adventurous kind of punchy side of things. It's got a good little bit of flavour to it, this beer. So thumbs up to Råå Bryggeri for this one. They have done a nice job with this beer. It's nice and drinkable and very fresh at the same time. So yeah, centre of the palate with this one then, you can feel that nice white bready malt that just blankets the middle of your palate. There is an element of graininess to this one which comes out the further into the aftertaste you go, but I can feel the malt base just gradually sweetening up on this one. In the centre of your palate there is an element of caramel in there, and it's quite a sweet caramel rather than being toasted or darker, but when you go further out from the centre of the palate you've got a nice sort of graininess to it as well. It's got a little bit of that almost McVitie's digestive type biscuity flavour to it, just that kind of biscuity syrupy sort of thing, which is really nice actually. I like the way that this malt base is sweetening up the further that you go into the beer. But yeah, I like how everything's going together with this one. Again, this is definitely one of these beers where it's about the flavours blend together, but it does have a nice little bit of just a little bit of punchiness in it from the hops. As I say, the way that the sweetness just kind of pushes its way out of this beer a bit later into the taste is very nice as well. On the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, a little bit of earthiness in there, but it very quickly moves to be a good sort of floral note to it. I do wonder if there's a little bit of Columbus or something in here as a bittering hop, because it has, it definitely has a little bit of that distinctive, slightly spicy floral aromatic note that you sometimes get from Columbus. And as I say, I love playing guess the hops with these beers. I think there might be a little bit of Columbus in here as the bittering hop. And that sort of spicy floral aromaticity is just spreading forward a little bit. And as you reach the kind of front curve of your tongue, it's got a nice, it just becomes a little bit lighter and grassy around there, but there is a good little bit of a floral spice there, just on the front corners of the palate as well. And behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where you get some of these nice, juicy, fruity esters coming out of the beer from the hops. And this is an interesting one. I was thinking from the aroma that it was a little bit of Cascade in there, but I'm honestly not sure. I'm finding that this beer, the fruity side of things is leaning a little bit more towards the orangey side of things. Definitely a little touch of orange in this one, I think. It's not, it's not quite got the lightness of the Citra. It's not quite got the passion fruity notes of the Simcoe either. It's really interesting how this one goes together. I wonder, could there be a little bit of Amarillo or something like that in here? The orangey hops, of course, you've got Mandarina Bavaria, you've got Amarillo. You've got, Mosaic gives you that nice kind of lighter, juicy tangerine. The Amarillo is a bit more of an oily orange, and the Mandarina Bavaria is that it's got a German noble hoppy quality to it, with the grassiness and the earthiness, but it does retain that more oily orangey character. You've got the Azaka, which is a bit more of a sharper Mandarin, and you've also got the Pacifica from New Zealand, which is, it's completely different. That's a very juicy orangey quality you get from this one. And if I was hedging my bets, I would wonder if there's a little bit of Amarillo in here. I'm finding this beer is a little bit kind of orangey. Yeah, but I'm wondering, the further into the taste you go as well, there's some of that kind of citrusy, grassy quality just lingering there as well. It does become more lighter and grassy and citrus on the front curve of your palate as well, which is very, very nice. I really like how everything's going together in this one. As I say, this is one of these beers, it's not going to blow the head off you right enough, but it's got a good little bit of flavour to it, which is nice. So thumbs up to Råå Bryggeri for this one. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. I'd be very curious to try this on tap and just see if that helps kind of make the malt base a little bit more pronounced. And I do like that with this beer, that the malt base gets a good hearing in it. A lot of breweries, when they brew IPAs, it either goes to be, it has to be completely juicy, or it has to be, just a big hoppy beast, but this one gives the malt base a good airing, and I think it gives the beer just a little bit of complexity. So yeah, I like this one. A nice, it's quite an easy drinking IPA, this one, but it's not on the same kind of level, it's not on the same kind of drinkability level, if you like, as the sort of restauranty type beers that a lot of breweries are brewing. This one does have a little bit more of a punch to it, but it's not going to blow the head off you. I think that's a good way to kind of describe this one. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say, mid-bodied. Carbonation is quite smooth on this one. It's got a good balance between oiliness and wetness in the mouthfeel. Nice little bit of hoppy bitterness. I would be thinking somewhere around 40, maybe pushing 50 IBUs for this one. Malt base has a good little bit of sweetness, some nice smoothness to it as well, and a good little bit of a juicy fruity character also, which is quite nice. As I say, I like how all these flavours go together in this one. So yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it with this one. It's got a little bit more punch to it than some of the sort of restauranty type beers. the sort of restauranty food pairing type beers that you're getting from a lot of breweries in Sweden just now, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. I'd be very curious to see what they throw out there as they go kind of further forward, actually, because they've been expanding a lot recently, apparently, this brewery. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one is the I for an IPA, really nice IPA, this one, with a good little bit of a malty presence. If I had to put this into the style brackets, I think it's got a little element of it's more of a kind of West Coasty IPA, this one, but there is, I don't think there's much of a hint of New England in the way that the flavours come out in this, but a very nice beer, and one that I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink again. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Råå Bryggeri as well, and I'm sure I'll return to these guys at some point in the near future, because I have been quite impressed with this one. So thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Make sure you check out my playlists and things like that, check out my social media, but have a go at some of these Råå beers, particularly if you're watching from the Skåne area here in the south of Sweden. Until the next time, Slanger just now, and I'll catch you guys later. This was the I for an IPA from Råå Bryggeri, just outside of Helsingborg here in Skåne in the very south of Sweden. Slanger, skål.